Fantastic Mr. Fox is in my letterbox top 4 movies, an absolutely beautiful piece of art. From the art style, the autumn colours, the incredible soundtrack that goes perfectly with a morning run, to the deeply layered main characters that you can peel into like an onion, pulling apart their skin every time you watch this insanely rewatchable masterpiece. Maybe the main thing I love about this movie is during Mr. Fox's monologue under the waterfall, I feel like it's me talking, as if he's saying the words I would never have the guts to actually openly say to someone.
I think I have this thing where I need everybody to think I'm the greatest, the quote-unquote fantastic Mr. Fox. And if they aren't completely knocked out and dazzled and kind of intimidated by me, then I don't feel good about myself.
How did we get to this point where this man could even become this vulnerable though? More vulnerable than most. To figure this out, I have to take you back to the movie's beginning, where we see Mr. Fox as seemingly his most fantastic. Charming, clever, confident, always knowing what to say, making chaos look cool, stealing livestock off farmers, half to feed himself and half for the thrill of it. During a heist going wrong, his wife Felicity tells him that she's pregnant, and Mr. Fox gives her the fakest smile of all time back through gritted teeth. The fears he felt in this moment came true, as after promising to give up stealing chickens, he enters the quiet life of being a family man, living in a house he feels doesn't match his greatness, writing cries for help in his newspaper columns for work, having a son he doesn't understand at all of which combine to slowly make him more and more depressed year after year. Mr. Fox was an addict he got for that high off of stealing chickens, helping him to forget about any insecurities he had of being just an ordinary guy, instead of this fantastic role model everyone worships. Psychology says addicts often have major insecurities they keep pushed down with their addiction, and Mr. Fox is no different. Without his high to help him, he projects these insecurities onto his son. A brilliant thing that the movie does though is by not having him do this in a very clear and instantly apparent way. He seems like a pretty normal dad at first glance. You can tell that he finds Ash a bit weird, but to be fair, we understand him because come on, Ash is clearly a bit weird. I mean, look at him. But we've had about 5 seconds to understand this kid. Mr. Fox has had many Fox years and he still doesn't get him, and it kinda looks like he doesn't even try too hard. He just does the bare minimum, not treating him badly or showing him disrespect, and feeling like just showing him that much respect means he's doing a good enough job as a dad. Although by God, it's clear Ash needs much more. Ash is begging to be understood, to be praised, to be really respected by his father, who he idolizes. We see this in numerous scenes throughout the movie, but rather than praise or understanding, all he gets is acknowledgement. This becomes far worse when Christopherson comes into the picture, and Ash sees firsthand what he's missing. Mr. Fox sees the type of kid he'd actually love to have, an exciting, talented, not weird or different person. His existence doesn't make Mr. Fox too uncomfortable to try and learn more about him, and thus he showers Christopherson with praise right in front of Ash, who isn't anywhere near as naturally talented. The young, exciting life Mr. Fox wanted to be able to live vicariously through his son, he instead feels he can live through Christopherson. In other attempts to run from his own insecurities, he buys a home he can't afford, the risk of which gives him a taste of a high he's been craving for years. Throughout the movie, Mr. Fox claims he's afraid of wolves, the animal he sees as the representation of freedom. The wolf he's running from is his animalistic nature. He sees the wolf as going the entire way to the wild, whereas he wants to believe he'll only dip his toes into his animalistic tendencies so that he can get the best of both worlds. A bit of wolf, a bit of man, a fox. And when he stares out the window of his new home at the farms of Boggis, Buns and Bean, he's staring at the wolf in his soul, dead in the eye, and inviting him to take over for a bit. He begins going on heists again in secret, and for a while the pain seems to fade. The addict's got to get his high back night after night, helping him run away from his problems for a while longer. The problem with chasing highs is that each time it needs to be more intense and greater than the last, which just never goes well. Mr. Fox's addiction ends up dragging his family and entire community into disaster. The farmers he's stealing from strike back, forcing his entire community far underground to escape them. If Mr. Fox had just learned to face his insecurities, understand who and what he is, and use his natural fox abilities to really benefit those around him rather than just boosting his own ego, he could have found fulfillment in the happy, safe life he had, and none of this would have happened. But, as most addicts do, he lied to himself, believing he really was helping his family, putting food on the table, affording their nice house, and being a strong provider that his family and community could look up to, when he was really just feeding his own ego. All this ego feeding ends up making the lives of everyone around him harder, and still, he doesn't learn learn his lesson. He continues the heist, partly to make it up to the community of animals, but also in part to once again rub it in the farmers' faces that he's smarter than them. As a result, the village of animals gets absolutely demolished by flooding caused by the farmers. As this happens, Ash convinced Kristofferson to go rob his dad's tail back from the farmers with him in an effort to win his father's approval. Ash makes it back without Kristofferson though, who was taken prisoner by the farmers. When his parents confront him about it and he explains what happened and why he did it, Mr. Fox has this look of shock on his face, almost as if he's finally seeing what his wife has to see in him. He was finally forced to live through his son, and it stung. The insecurities he faced in his life were there, and now his son's trying to run from them the same way he did. That moment was the closest Mr. Fox came so far to understanding his son. The charisma, the cleverness, being fantastic means nothing when the people you love are hurting because of you. And then comes the iconic waterfall scene. He opens up to his wife, basically admitting how unhappy he was and how he wanted everyone to see this fantastic image of himself he pictures in his mind. And the less he feels that people see him as that, the worse he feels. Felicity married him for who he was, not the image in his head, and because she now thinks that he wants to be this fake image more than he wants to be the man who prioritizes his family, she tells him she shouldn't have married him. Ow. The man who spent his life digging himself into trouble finally hits rock bottom. But down there at rock bottom, he had nowhere else to run, so he finally confronted those demons of his. He admitted his problems out loud in this moment, first to Felicity and then to Ash, admitting to his son that their problems are his fault, not Ash's. This was his first step to change, baby. He realizes maybe he doesn't need to be this fake image of greatness when he already has all this love around him from just himself. He's just gotta focus on nurturing it rather than bolstering his own status. I was born with an insistent need to steal the spotlight, craving attention from my youngest years. You know that part everyone hates in the start of a new class in college or school when the teacher gets everyone one by one to tell the class their name and something interesting about themselves? I'd be rocking in my chair excited for my turn, where all the class's eyes are on me for a second and then begin a serious come down off a high as soon as my turn was finished. Throughout the years, I would do anything for the high I get off a little bit of spotlight, attention, and laughs I could get off my peers, not caring about what I said, if I even believed what I was saying, or who I may have hurt in the process to get it. This was all for the sake of my fragile ego, which completely and utterly depended on what my peers thought of me, how much I could make them laugh. It took people I cared about who told me they were deeply affected by jokes I made just for some laughs that made me try to be better. But to do that, I first needed to know who I was and become comfortable with that person, so that the opinions of others wouldn't matter as much, meaning I wouldn't bend over backwards to try and get praise and attention off them. At the cost of me going from one of the loudest in my friend groups to one of the quietest, I've gained something so much more important. Every night I sleep like a baby, knowing I am so authentically myself and so happy being myself, and by God, that is priceless. The man in me won over the wolf. Mr. Fox tries to do the same thing pretty quickly following where we last left off, as in his rescue mission for Kristofferson, he doesn't put together a plan for himself to take all the glory. He involves everyone, even the smallest, most irrelevant animals. They all get a say, they all get a part to play. Bars. He puts his ego to the side so that they can all succeed together, and by God, it pays off. Ash sneaks into the most dangerous part of the rescue mission, and through actually giving his weird son a chance in this high stakes environment, Mr. Fox realizes, whoa, my son's actually pretty cool, and says this symbolically by giving him a bandit hat to put on. On the journey back from saving Kristofferson, he makes peace with the wolf in his soul, as the fear that that shadow which has chased him for the last several years could tempt him into the life a piece of him yearns for is gone, replaced by the responsibility and appreciation for his family winning over. He finishes the movie living in the sewer, an even worse spot than he started physically, but emotionally he can see how he's surrounded by people he cares about, and that's all he needs. He gets to use the natural talents he has of being quick, smart and stealthy to scavenge from a supermarket, still managing to provide for his loved ones without putting anyone in danger. In a full circle moment, Felicity tells him she's pregnant once again, and this time he's overjoyed. Mr. Fox learns happiness isn't about getting what you want, but wanting what you have, and he is ecstatic he gets to have another amazing loved one to appreciate. In the end, the man in him won out over the wolf.